Okay, so right here, I'm going to create a sketch. We're going to create that sketch in the front view. I'm going to create a rectangle. I have the right units, don't I? Properties, units, how about millimeters, drafting standards, ANSI. Okay? If I create a couple of holes, okay, and let's say that we put some dimensions on here. So we'll go 250 going across here. I know that's a lot bigger than what I drew. We'll go 150 going up. I can make these two holes horizontal. We can add some, also I can make the two holes equal. Come on. And so that if I dimension one of them at 20, then that will do both. We can also do, now this is where the design intent comes in. If I create a dimension from the bottom to the center of my holes out here and say that's 75, that'll go to the middle. If I create a dimension from one side to the other up here and say that's 25, and then create another dimension between my holes and say that's 200, right? Now, thinking about design intent, if I come in here and change the length of my part and make that 300, then the distance between the holes doesn't change. Put that back to 250. If I take and make the height here bigger, say 200, then the distance from the bottom up to the holes doesn't change. But you can put in constraints and dimensions that do allow for this. Right now we're not getting into equations, but you can use center lines. I will never don't call them construction lines. I can use center lines. I can use constraints and dimensions to keep these things in the middle. So instead of using a dimension, we can use a center line that's connected to that midpoint and the center of the circle. So now if I take this 150 and make it 200, then the holes stay in the middle because I have constrained those holes to the midpoint of that line. That line gets bigger, the holes stay in the middle of the line. Okay? Maybe we want them to be 0.25 from an edge. So if I take away the 200 and put in the 25, from this end, if I make the distance longer, like 300, then those holes will remain exactly 25 off the edges no matter how long the part is. So you cannot just jump in and start drawing in SOLIDWORKS. You've got to stop, think about your design intent, think about where you're going with it, how it might modify, and then put that into the constraints and dimensions. Questions?
Okay, the one on the left you also
Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is just revolves. I've got 3 problems over there. They're going to be revolutions. I want you to create the profile that's going to be revolved. So you will first have to create a sketch on the front plane. You will create a center line that your sketch is going to be revolved around. I'm going to make sure of my units. So millimeters, grams, and seconds, and the ISO drafting ANSI drafting standards. And then the profile is just a closed polygon that's going to get revolved around this center line I just drew. So as we draw it, you can line it up with the origin. And you can create your shape. I know I'm probably making it a little small, but you can create the shape that is going to be revolved. It is a closed polygon, so I drew my center line short on purpose so that I could show you that it has to be a closed polygon, and the center line is a separate object from that closed polygon. Okay? If you want, you can extend the center line up. Doesn't really matter. To dimension this, the trick I want to show you is that if you select on the center line and then select on an object line on your profile and move up, that is a radius. If you take that and move it to the left side of the center line, that is a diameter. Okay?
Could you do that again?
Yes, I will. Let's set this one first. That's supposed to be 20, and I'll keep doing it. If you select, it doesn't matter what order you do it in. You can pick the object line first and then the center line. But if you're on the right side of the center line, you get a radius from the center out. If you go to the left of the center line, you get a diameter, total distance across the diameter of the object that's going to be revolved. So that one there is supposed to be 160. Okay. Use your collinear constraints. If it distorts, then drag it back to where you need it. I believe it's a lot taller than that. I don't know if I did that right. But again, you can use this for all of the diameters. So I'm just trying to throw on a couple of dimensions here. The bottom one is supposed to be 30, and that's really going to mess things up. And then this one's supposed to be 80. You know what? Then you can just drag things, can't you? If it distorts it too far. And then put more dimensions on it. This one's supposed to be 30. And from, oh, the 230 was from that edge. Did that wrong. So dimension from here to the bottom, that's supposed to be 230, and then this one up here is supposed to be 40. But you can use the diameter for all of this. In other words, the one in the middle has a diameter of 100, so it's the inside edge, the center line. If you stay to the right, that's a radius. If you just move your mouse to the left, that's a diameter. On one side of the center line, radius. On the other side of the center line, a diameter. So that one there is supposed to be 100. This one up here, pick the center line again. I did. That one's supposed to be 60. And the little point. You can also do a point. So I can pick on the point and the center line and come up above it and make that 100. So I want you using the diameters. I don't want, if you turn these in with radiuses, you're not going to be happy with the red ink all over it. I want you using the diameters. Use the center line. It is not connected to the center line. Doesn't have to be. It is coincident with the origin, but it doesn't have to be connected on the center line. So when I take this object and I just want you turning in the 2D. But I want to show you what a revolution is. So I'm going to exit out of the sketch and then go back to my features and create a revolve. And because I only have one closed profile and I only have one center line or axis, that it automatically gave me my revolve. So you can see the profile that's revolved around the center line. Because I was off the center line, I got a hole in the middle. Got a hole down the middle because I was off that center line. Okay? So I'm just looking for the sketch of the profile that produces that revolved shape. I don't want both sides. I just want the one side. Is there a question about what I just did?